Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. Sources of this information come from the smart device application Today in History, What Happened Today in History, historical calendar, and the website honestday.com. For links to those sources, the music you're hearing, and anything else potentially interesting that we might even gather throughout the show, check the underbar in the description below. Anyway, I am A.O. Xander, and you, of course, are you. Today is, Thursday. Today is Thursday, August 18th, 2022. So, Thursday, aka Thursday, August 18th, 2022. Alright. Should have done that before. Anyway, what happened on this date in history, you may ask? Well, I will take you down for lack of a better term, memory lane. 1418, competition announced to design home of Florentine Cathedral. Main competitors Lorenzo Ghiberti and Filippo Brunelleschi, supported by Cosimo de' Medici. Alright. We have good old thimble hat here. It's 1564, Spanish King Philip II joined the Council of Trent. What is the Council of Trent? Let's take a look at that real quick. Council of Trent. I don't need all that other stuff. Council of Trent. It was held between 1545 and 1563 in Trent. It was the 19th Ecumenical Council of the Catholic Church. Prompted by the Protestant Reformation, it has been described as the embodiment of the Counter-Reformation. Okay, so he was part of all that. Adding that into the underbar for further reading if anyone is so inclined. Moving on up into 1674, Jean Racine's Iphigenie premiered in Versailles. Alright. 1698, Russian Tsar Peter the Great arrived in Zandan. Okay, must have been some kind of something going on. 1838, United States exploring expedition headed by Charles Wilkes departed for the Pacific Ocean and Antarctica. Okay, so departed for the Pacific Ocean. So it sounds like wasn't already there, or I don't know. English is weird. 1862, General Lee's adjutant Major Stewart was captured. Adjutant. I don't know how to pronounce that word. 1904, Chris Watson resigned as Prime Minister of Australia and was succeeded by George Reed. 5 years later, 1909, Mayor of Tokyo, Yukio Ozaki, presented Washington, D.C. with 2,000 cherry trees, which President William Howard Taft decided to plant near the Potomac River. Well, thank you. 1914, U.S. President Woodrow Wilson issued Proclamation of Neutrality. That was prior to the outbreak of the First World War. Or actually, when did World War I start? World War I starts July 28th, so it's already started. So we're just like, we want to stay out of it. Like it's none of our business, European wars and stuff. But yeah, it became our business. 1917, the Queen's Hospital opened to provide pioneering plastic surgery for World War I soldiers, led by Harold Gillies in Sidcup, England. I was thinking of surgeons when I said surgers. So, surgers. Are those surgery soldiers? You know? Surgers? 1928, 22-year-old Representative Harry T. Byrne was the deciding vote in Tennessee, and thus United States' ratification of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, allowing women's suffrage after a letter from his mother. What? Okay. Alright. 1923, U.S. National Championship Women's Tennis at Germantown Country Club in Pennsylvania. Helen Wills Moody defeated Mola Bajurted Mallory 6-2, 6-1 for her first of 7 U.S. singles crowns. Yeah, the lady whose head looks like a pea. I don't know why. It's perfectly spherical. It's like a basketball, you know? I don't know. 1931, Lou Gehrig hitless in Detroit. his 1,000th consecutively played game. Oh wow, so his 1,000th game, but he got no hits. That sucks. 1934, Don Bradman, 244, and Bill Ponsford, 205. No, put on 551 in world record partnership for Australia on day one of fifth cricket test win against England at the Oval. Yes, once again the Oval, where the lines attack you. 1938, FDR dedicated Thousand Islands Bridge connecting U.S. and Canada. Cool. Where is that? Let's look that up here. Thousand Islands Bridge. Images. I want to take a look at it. Oh, that's a cool bridge. Yeah, it has a lot of bridge-like features. That's cool. It has trestles and then suspension. So, yeah. What else happened? 1943. Final convoy of Jews from Salonika, Greece, arrived at Auschwitz. Yeah. Awful. Also, at that same time, in 1943, Giants' future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Carl Hubble won his 253rd and final game as New York defeated Pittsburgh Pirates 3-2 at the Polo Grounds in New York City. Here we go, the man, the myth, the legend. 1944, Chartres freed by U.S. Third Army forces during World War II, led by General George S. Chartres. Was that during the Battle of the Bulge? Chartres. Let's see here. Well, I'm not going to find anything, so what is this? No, apartments. Oh well. Anyway, 1945, Sukarno was elected first president of Indonesia by the Preparatory Committee for Indonesian Independence, PPKI. Alright. 1956, Elvis Presley's Hound Dog and Don't Be Cruel reached number 1 in the charts. Which, as I said before, he was doing a cover of Hound Dog. Somebody else actually wrote that song, so that's not an Elvis original. At least, that was news to me, you know. 2 years later, 1958, Fidel Castro made a speech on Cuban pirate radio Rebelid. Rebelid. Yeah. Also, 1958, Floyd Patterson technically knocks out Roy Harris in 13 for heavyweight boxing title. The boxing cowboy. Also in 1958, the novel Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov was published. Alright. 365 days later, 1959, Branch Rickey resigned as Pirate CEO to be president of the Continental League. Alright, so he's stepping up. He's going away from one team and just, like, managing, well, not managing, but supervising them all and stuff. President of the Continental League. That's really cool. 1963, James Meredith became the first black graduate from the University of Mississippi. Nice. Nice. I wonder what he studied. Actually, let's look. Okay. Civil rights. White sniper. Okay, so he got shot. But, okay, James Meredith. What did he study? Because I want to know. Okay, political science. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, well, so he went into the University of Ibadan in Nigeria. Well, that's interesting. Huh. 1965, Hank Aaron lost a home run because he hit it out of the batter's box. Ooh. Also, 1965, Orioles, Brooks Robinson hit into his third career triple play, tying George Sisler, Deacon McGuire, and Joe Start. Nice. 1969, Mick Jagger accidentally shot while filming Ned Kelly. Oh, so he was shot accidentally. Was Alec Baldwin on the set by chance? 2 years later, 1971, New Zealand Prime Minister Keith Holyoake announced in Parliament that New Zealand's combat force would be withdrawn from Vietnam before the end of the year, coinciding with a similar announcement by the Australian government. Yep. 1972, police fine Paul and Linda McCartney $800, whatever that is, in Sweden for cannabis possession. So whatever the Sweden money is. 1973, drummer Gene Krupa played for the final time with the Benny Goodman Quartet. Krupa, yeah. 3 years later, 1976, Korean axe murder incident. 2 U.S. soldiers tasked with cutting down a poplar tree blocking the view of UN observers, were killed by North Koreans claiming it was planted by Kim Il-sung in the Korean demilitarized zone. Oh yeah, that turned into a whole thing. The U.S. They eventually did cut the tree down with the help of like essentially an entire invading force. I think there was a carrier flotilla off the coast ready to go too, but there were tanks, missile launchers, jets. Like they're an entire thing just to cut down this tree to prevent them from getting shot at again. Because if they did, it's an act of war. It's the second time. So, 1979, Iran's Ayatollah Khomeini demanded saint war against Kurds. Okay, well, this guy looks really shifty. 1980, KC Royals George Brett batting average reached .4. Okay, good. 1 year later, 1981, Jerry Lewis appeared on Donahue to defend telethons. Yeah, I don't much care for telethons, so, yeah. I don't know. Anyway, 1982, Pete Rose set record with his 13,941st plate appearance. Now that I'm thinking about the whole telethon thing, I never watch them, I mean, I guess everything has its place. But nowadays there'd be so many advertisements, 1983, KC Royals defeated New York Yankees 5-4, completing Pine Tar game in 12 minutes. Hal McRae struck out and Dan Quinsbury retired Yankees in order. 1986, U.S. rock band Bon Jovi released their third album, Slippery When Wet, becoming the Billboard's top-selling album of 1987. This guy, he looks like I don't know, he has like a Ron White vibe going. I don't know. Looks like a disheveled Ron White. 2002, Canadian Open Women's Golf, Sumeria Golf Club. Meg Mallon won by 3 from Michael Ellis, Rosie Jones, Kate Riona, Matthew, and Michelle Redmond. Also in 2002, the PGH Championship Men's Golf, Hazeltine National Golf Club, U.S. Rick Beam won his first major title by 1 stroke from Tiger Woods. Dang. In 2016, the Uasian Bolts from Jamaica won the gold medal in the men's 200 meter for the third successive Summer Olympics. Recorded a time of 19.78 seconds in Rio de Janeiro. Yep. At the same time, also in 2016, New Zealand's 2017 America's Cup winning helmsman Peter Burling teams with Blair Tuke to win the gold medal in the 49er class sailing at the Rio de Janeiro Olympics. Okay, here we go again. The Indianapolis. So 2017, civilian researchers led by Paul Allen rediscovered the USS Indianapolis, 18,000 feet below the Pacific surface, 72 years after it was sunk by Japanese torpedoes. Yeah, that was a rough one. A lot of men got eaten by sharks. Horrifying. 2017, White House Chief Strategist Stephen Bannon was fired by U.S. President Donald Trump. All right. Yeah, I remember that. Bannon. So, Bannon got banned. 1 year later, 2018, Imran Khan became the 22nd Prime Minister of Pakistan after gaining the support of independent members after his party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf (PTI), won the most votes but not a majority in the general election. While that happened in 2018 as well, Indian actress Priyanka Chopra and U.S. singer Nick Jonas confirmed their engagement with an engagement party in Mumbai, India. Oh, okay. One of the Jonas Brothers is getting hitched. Or he got hitched. That was 4 years ago. 2 years ago, though, 2020, California Governor Gavin Newsom. Screw you, Newsom, you piece of shit. Declared a state of emergency as 27 fires burned across the state amid a continuing heat wave. Yeah, well, what he's done since then. And we tried to recall him, and that, of course, didn't work. Because if the liberals can, hijack a national election, they sure as hell can do that to a state. And that's probably how they've been in power here for the past 20 some odd years. But yeah, we tried to recall this piece of crap. Try to bring in, somebody else. I voted for Larry Elder And of course that didn't work. And then immediately after, he started he started putting strict mask mandates. We had like a little lockdown again. As true evil villain fashion, would do. So, but when that happened, 2020, Joe Biden was formally nominated as the Democratic Party's presidential candidate during the second night of their first ever virtual conversation. Okay. So it sounds like a Zoom meeting and everything. So, wow, yeah, this time last year, it was still all the COVID stuff, it was very believable because we were a bunch of, we didn't know. We didn't know the true intents like we do these days. Anyway, before we go on to Burst and Deaths, were there any articles that you found interesting? Leave a comment in the comment section, start a dialogue, we'll discuss, stuff like that. Moving on into Burst. We have Antonio Salieri, 1750. He was an Italian composer, Terrere, born in Legnago, Republic of Venice, dying in 1825. And Meriwether Lewis of the Lewis and Clark expeditions, born on this date in 1774, he was an American explorer, soldier, and public administrator who helped lead the Lewis and Clark expedition, born in Ivy, Virginia, dying in 1809. And that whole expedition, it wasn't just, to explore and stuff, it was to look for areas, to start, planting settlements, strategic, forts for the military, to guard and, patrol their newly acquired land and all that stuff. So, Manifest Destiny! 1792, we have John Russell, 1st Earl Russell, British Prime Minister, Whig Party, 1846 through 52 and 1865 through 66, born in Mayfair, Middlesex, dying in 1878. Oh, sounds like a threesome to me. Middlesex. Sandwich. 1830, Franz Joseph I was born on this date. He was an emperor of Austria, king of Hungary, Croatia, and Bohemia from 1848 through 1916. Born in Vienna, Austria, dying in 1916. Yeah, there's not many V words, so, Vienna, Venice, just, Venezuela. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. Born on this date in 1900, was an Indian diplomat and politician born in Allahabad, India, dying in 1990. Wow, so she lived to 90 years old. Pretty good. Shelley Winters was born on this date in 1920, also known as Shrift. She was a U.S. Oscar and Emmy Award-winning actress. Lolita, A Place in the Sun, A Patch of Blue, The Poseidon Adventure. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, dying in 2006. And we have Roman Polanski, 1933, is a Polish-French film director, Rosemary's Baby, Chinatown, and Pirates, born in Paris, France. Still around. 1934, Roberto Clemente was a Puerto Rican Baseball Hall of Fame outfielder, 15-time MLB All-Star, World Series 1960, 71 MVP, Pittsburgh Pirates, born in Carolina, Puerto Rico, dying in 1972. 1936, Robert Redford, U.S. actor, Sting candidate, Natural Great Gatsby, born in Santa Monica, California. Who else was born on this date? Nobody of merit. So, moving on into deaths. Genghis Khan, the great Mongol emperor, died on this date in 1227. Actual name is Temujin Borjigin. He was a Mongolian warlord who founded the Mongol Empire. Died at around 65, and we're still looking for his tomb today. So, Walter Chrysler died in 1940. He was a U.S. automotive pioneer, Chrysler Corporation, and a thoroughbred breeder. Died at 65. So he had his hand in horses. Sometimes literally. He's a breeder. 1988, Frederick Ashton died on this date. He was a British choreographer Cinderella. Died at the age of 83. And we have Kofi Annan, 2018, Ghanaian diplomat and 7th Secretary General of the United Nations from 1997 to 2006. Died at the age of 80. Dang. And that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar in the description for any links that you may find interesting. For your dose of Past Events Daily, we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific Time. For all of you and all of us, I am Xander, and you are you, and until you catch us tomorrow, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Until then, toodles!